I bet you have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about, that's right, coffee. Okay, I'm just kidding. That's my sense of humor. This is my little display for tea, and I'm going to talk about a false flag event that I saw in a vision that I believe relates to a past event in the history of the United States. I had this vision on Friday, March 25th, 2016. It was in the middle of the night, but, well, actually, it was early in the morning. I was awake, thinking about something else, but suddenly I saw a picture of a white framed picture, but I couldn't make out what the picture was. It had white in it and some sandy colors. As I was looking at it, I heard Tom Silva of This Old House television show say, "You all recognize this one. It's the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald." I thought to myself, well, I don't see a wreck because it's hard to tell what's in that picture. That was the end of the vision. Now, I wanted to make sure that this vision was from the Lord. He's always told me to ask Him, and He would tell me or show me or take away what was not from Him. So I got up and I prayed about it. Then I went back to sleep. I had a dream where I was talking to my husband about this same vision. When I woke up, I realized that this was one of the confirmations. Later on in the morning, I actually talked to my husband about the person's voice I heard because he watches This Old House religiously, and found out it was Tom Silva. And we discussed Edmund Fitzgerald as well, because this was the ship that was in the vision, or the words of the ship. Ironically, though, my husband's entire family vacationed at the Sioux Locks in Michigan in the early 70s, and he recalled that the captain of the Edmund Fitzgerald spoke to two of his sisters over the loudspeaker. As I researched the boat and the history of the boat, I found that indeed the captain used to speak through his loudspeakers as he went through ports, and you can read about it more in a link I provided. That's just a little bit of trivia, because this boat is not the focus of the vision, rather just a ship from the past. Tom Silva and the This Old House television series is set in and around Boston. Tom has that Boston accent. I recognize his voice. As I went to research the topic after prayer, I initially had in mind that what I saw was a shipwreck that would happen in Boston. I watched a short video on the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and it brought me to tears because I started thinking about the fear those men had, especially in that video, because they show you these guys that were on the boat. And I continued to research it. Since the Edmund Fitzgerald was already a wreck, I wondered what the vision could be pointing to. The other thing that stood out to me was Tom's accent. Well, when I thought of the ship together with Boston, that brought to mind the Boston Tea Party. I almost dismissed it, but came to the sharp realization that I was wrong once I recalled the two confirmations that I had in advance of the vision. Okay, so work with me here as I explain the full circle of this coming false flag, an event similar to the Boston Tea Party from December 16th, 1773. That's the night it occurred. The first confirmation. One of the causes of the Boston Tea Party is that the American colonists believed Britain was unfairly taxing them to pay for expenses that they were incurring, the British, during the French and Indian War. Okay, if you recall, a few weeks ago, the Lord directed me to start reading the book The Last of the Mohicans. This is a story based on the French and Indian War in the United States. Now, if that seems confusing to you, just read the link that I posted. The British also fought in this war, which occurred in northeastern United States, and that explains why the colonists thought they were raising taxes. The British needed the money for their war efforts. The second confirmation I received in advance was quite incredible. This is another fact about the Boston Tea Party. In an effort, and these are excerpts from a link that I'm providing, in an effort to hide their true identities, many of the Sons of Liberty, which is what the colonists called themselves, many of them attempted to pass themselves off as Mohawk Indians because if caught for their actions, they would have faced severe punishment. So I found this interesting because of what they called themselves and their disguise. Just yesterday, while I was driving to work, I found myself behind a big old pickup truck that had a sticker advertising Indiana Sons of Liberty. All I could assume at the time was that it must be some militia group. Now, the Lord brought that back to my mind again today, that I had seen this group in advance of my vision. I can tell you I've never seen a sticker like that before in my state. Now, you can Google it and find the website for this group. I'd rather not put a link to that on my webpage, though. But they do exist. In fact, I'm sure they exist all over the country, and if I'm not mistaken, that was the group that some of these militias are causing problems out west. But there is a group still called Sons of Liberty, just like during the Boston Tea Party. So first, I'm reading a book about the French and Indian War, and then I'm seeing this sticker. Both things for me point as confirmation that what is coming, and that is an event similar to the Boston Tea Party incident. Now, it's not about dumping tea into the harbor, okay? It is about something happening on a boat. Now, Tom Silva was the voice I heard, so I looked up the meaning of the name Tom. It is parallel to the name Tammy, and that means twin. As soon as I found that out, the Lord gave me twin event. This is a twin event. An event similar to the Boston Tea Party. Now, as I pondered further, still asking for the Lord's lead, and believe me, I am constantly talking to Him during this whole research time. I don't go to people for help only on rare occasion. Mostly, I just kind of let Him lead me. So He directed me to the picture again in my vision, the one that had the white frame. I recall there was no boat in the picture, but it seemed as if I was in a museum or a place of history, and Tom Silva was pointing out something from the past. You know, here, everybody should know what this is. It's the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Now, this shipwreck really wasn't a wreck per se, but it was a ship that just went down because of the weather. The Edmund Fitzgerald is fully immersed in the waters of Lake Superior. That is why there was no picture of it in the frame. Yet almost every citizen in my country knows the story from 1975 because of the song by Gordon Lightfoot. Tom Silva was pointing out the past in this picture because you couldn't see the boat. Also, if I was seeing this picture with a group of people in a museum, to me that's another indicator that he's pointing to the past. So, history repeating itself? This is the twin event? The fact that the Sons of Liberty dressed up as Indians for the actual Boston Tea Party in 1773 lends me to think that this will be a false event. I originally erred in what I thought was a false flag. I only thought that the government caused them. But Wikipedia, to my rescue, says, quote, operations carried out during peacetime by civilian organizations as well as covert government agencies can also be called false flag operations if they seek to hide the real organization behind an operation. So, in essence, even the original Boston Tea Party was a false flag event because the Sons of Liberty dressed up as Indians. And the white frame around the picture may also point to the very same thing, a frame-up of the wrong group. Now, I'm not sure if the white color indicates that a good group frames a dark group or vice versa. But that is what this vision and its confirmations led me to think. And also, you know what just came to mind is the Boston Marathon bombing. We just had that a couple years ago in Boston. So it would be almost a third false flag event in Boston if this actually occurred in that town. Now there's one final confirmation for me. And as I was looking into this research this morning, I felt led to put off reading my devotions for a bit. Okay, so I kind of had everything in place in my thoughts about what was going on. And the next day I'm reading Isaiah 30. Well, verse 17 says, 1,000 shall flee at the threat of one. At the threat of 5 you shall flee, till you are left like a flagstaff on the top of a mountain, like a signal on a hill. So there's the word flagstaff. So I think in the near future, a false flag event similar to the Boston Tea Party may take place. I'm not sure where, but it would seem like there is a boat involved. The Edmund Fitzgerald was a bulk carrier, so perhaps this will be an act of terrorism on a civilian boat. as I saw nothing military in this vision, and frankly it's easier to get on board a commercial vessel than a military one. So let's keep our eyes open. I'm not sure where, if it involves a boat, what it involves, but something's going to happen, and I think we have a couple indications here from this vision of what to look forward to, or what to look for to. It's certainly not to look forward to.